Hey there, Caitlin. How are you?
Hey. I'm so good. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm so excited for this episode because we have been business friends for like a year now, I think. Is that right?
That sounds right. I definitely was in the Lived Experience Summit at the top of this year, which means we had to meet toward the end of last year.
hmm
Probably. I forget how we met, but
I
uh,
want to say you were posting about novel parkour on Threads, and I was like, this sounds cool. And I was laying on the couch and I was so depressed, and I like logged into the Zoom and I'm like horizontal.
it
And
was
by the
copy
end, I was
improv.
like pacing with ideas.
It was copy improv because that was
Copy
for
improv.
marketing. Yes, I remember. And you went from horizontal on the couch to like pacing around, and I was like, "Oh my God, look, I make such an impact. Oh my freaking God." And then we became barnacles in each other's lives.
Yes.
And it's not a problem. I like it.
Yes,
Biggest barnacle.
absolutely. Yeah, no, you do. You make such an impact in people's lives, my life especially. Like I'm on the Caitlyn fan train for sure. Well, for our listeners who are less familiar with you, tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Oh my freaking God. A little bit about me is not an easy ask because I have ADHD, so I'm going to go on some tangents. But I primarily as a coach right now, I help people write books. I help neurodivergent people not give up, freak out, burn out while writing their first draft specifically. I like to be the audacity fairy godparent and like help you not abandon it for a million reasons why it might be perfectly logical to abandon your draft along the way.
Yeah.
So that's like kind of that's my jam. But I'm also just sort of like an agent of whimsy and chaos. I have a podcast, the Neurodivergent Creative Podcast, where I just talk about kind of whatever's going on. I relate it back through neurodivergence. And the mission statement at the end of the day is that you are inherently creative, and I help you believe it. That's Caitlin.
I love that. And it's so true. Like working with you has really, really, really gotten me back in touch with the creative part of me that I definitely kind of tried to bury. And then she reemerged through the business and turned me into a bit of a workaholic.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. That happens.
Do you remember what you told me when I tried to tell you I didn't have time to write my book?
Oh God, I feel like it was a banger, but I don't remember the specifics, so please regale me.
I was telling you, I was like, I don't have time to write my book. And your response was, well, what else are you doing to take care of yourself? Because even if you don't have time for the book, you need to make sure you have time for self-care in some capacity.
Oh
And I
yeah.
was like, oh, well, I play with my kids
Oh
and
yeah.
I work in the business and all of this stuff. And you were like, so those things are not for just for you. You're not doing anything just for you. Like, I need you to be aware of that.
Yeah, I do kind of lovingly hand people their ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
But sometimes we need it. I need
We
it a
need
lot.
it.
Like
Yes.
you have done that for me. My friend Christy has done that for me. Like sometimes it takes somebody else and like seeing yourself through their eyes to be like, "Oh, like I wouldn't let my client, my friend, my sister run their business this way. So like I'm not going to let me run my business this way."
Yes. Yes. And run my life this way,
And
right?
run my
Like
life.
that's been the biggest area I think you've helped me with is just realizing a little bit of work-life balance again.
I love it. I love it. Specifically, work, life, play, rest, balance. Because life is not just work and not work. And also, like,
Mm.
your work is a big significant part of your life. So, with work, life, play, rest, life is sort of like my catch-all, like community, spiritual needs, things like that. Because we also really specifically need rest. And we also really specifically need play. We need fun. Fun is how we make connections, especially neurodivergent people. Like, sometimes I'll just be like, okay, here's a problem that I'm having. And I'm just going to let that percolate in my brain while I play Animal Crossing, while I read a book, while I play with my dog. Because, like, your brain will do stuff without you actively staring at it and being like, okay, do it. give me the good idea. You don't have to do that. You can go rest, you can take a nap, you can do anything fun that you want, and your brain will still be working. And I think a lot of us need to realize that we don't have to watch. We don't have to like micromanage our own brains.
Yes. I mean, why do we think our best ideas come to us when we're driving or in the shower?
Yeah, exactly. Because we're not watching our fucking
Because we
brain.
take the pressure off, right?
Yes. Also, can I swear on your
Oh,
podcast?
absolutely. Swear away.
Fuck. Okay. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'm curious because I don't know if I know the answer to this, but what got you into book coaching?
Okay, great. This is such a fun story.
Oh, no.
No, it's fine. It's just it's gonna start in the January of 2020.
Okay.
So it's January 2020. I have put together a program called Level Up Your Trauma Recovery.
Okay.
It is sort of based on D&D, the idea being like when you were like a level 5 person and your mom is like a level 20 person, you're never going to win that fight. Like, of course, like as a child, you were wounded, but now we can like take the coping skills and decurse them, right? Like your boundaries, your coping mechanisms and stuff. Like we can treat them like magical items and we can recontextualize them. And it was like very RPG, which is funny because I don't like to play RPGs, but I do like character creation. And I do like to do stuff like I make a list of 20 things and then I roll a d20. You actually said that in an episode of your podcast, and I was like, oh, Megan, I do that. So love that for us. Anyway, I am approaching a convention. It was Midwinter Gaming Convention in Milwaukee, and I was going to launch this workshop there. Like I ran it live for people at the con as if it was like a game, but it was like about trauma, right? So I didn't get a ton of people signing up because they were there to play games. But I did have like a pretty active like group in my afternoon session or whatever. And a lot of people liked it, and so I decided I'm going to run this as like an online thing. Now, in January, before I went, this might have even been in December the year before, but I called my freaking life coach and I was like, I don't think I should do this. Like the pros and cons list doesn't make sense. It's going to cost me a lot of money to go there. I'm not going to like recoup my costs. And I was freaking out and trying to make it like a logical pro con. I don't think I'm ready for this kind of a thing. And she talked me down off the ledge. And I realized I was having a panic attack. She was like, what are 5 things you can hear right now? And I was like, how dare you regulate my nervous system while I'm freaking out? And so I figured it out. I went to the con. I did it. I loved it. It was great. And that is how I started an online business because I decided I can coach people too. I can help people the way that my coach has helped me. And this level up thing is really cool. So I ran it. It was like $200. And I made it like a 4-week class, and like a few of my friends bought it, and I was trying really hard to like make that my whole jam.
Mhm.
And then I just sort of started advertising like I am taking life coach clients, and the people who were very excited to hire me for that all wanted me to help them with their writing.
Hmm.
My book had come out in 2019, so like these people had seen me leave an abusive relationship, like go through all of this growth, all of this stuff. My book came out, and so I was completely unaware that like people were watching me and being inspired by just me surviving and living my life. And so when I was like, "Hey, I coach people," like 2 or 3 people signed up right away, and it was so discounted. Like I was not charging. It was, but it was like it was a stretch for them at the time.
Mhm.
And I was just happy to be getting paid to coach. And so it turned out like it was mostly writers. And I was like, interesting. And then I realized it's mostly ADHD writers. I'm like, that's interesting too. Eventually I ran a program called the 90-day goal glow up. And the plan there was just any goal you have, I will help you achieve it in 90 days. The 3 people who bought that were writers. And so at that point I was like, oh, I have been niched. Like I got niched by my business. I was just trying to be like a creative whimsy person. And so working title was the evolution of 90-day goal glow up. And for a while I was just calling it writer thing. I was like, it's just this writer thing. Here's what it's going to have in it. If you're interested, let me know. And then it started to grow. It became working title. And like, so that's like my big group program. I mentor 12 writers a year. And the goal is finish your first draft within 12 months. Some people do more, some people do less. Like, but I'm there for 12 months. And like, even if you don't finish your book, I'm gonna like hold your face so much and be like, you're a fucking writer that like, even if you only work with me for that 1 year, you're gonna go off and finish your book by yourself anyway. And then I was also having like one-on-one clients, so people would hire me to do like developmental book coaching and stuff like that. So long story long, that's how I got here.
I absolutely love that. I want to play the trauma RPG real bad.
Oh, it's good.
That
I
sounds
should do it again.
amazing.
It's been through 3 iterations now. It was like level up your trauma recovery, level up your creativity. No, creativity was the third one. I don't know. I've done it 3 times.
Yeah.
Um, and it was nice. I did it at Midwinter again. So they canceled their con in 2021, obviously. And then in 2022, they opened again. So I ran it again in 2022. And one of the same people came back. And I recognized them because they had asexual pride dice. And so I just went, hey, ace dice. And they were like, yeah, that's me. And it was adorable. So Ace Dice, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry I can't remember your real name. But I love you and I think of you all the time.
I think that that's the important part.
It is.
But yeah, I came to coaching much the same way. Like I started with like general life coaching and then all of my clients were autistic and ADHD. And I realized like I didn't even know I was autistic and ADHD at the time. And so I was like, huh, how strange, how funny.
Yeah,
I think we definitely attract who we are to a certain degree.
for sure.
Um,
It's just so fun. Like I didn't know. I didn't set out to be the ADHD writing coach. Like I didn't really set out to be anything. I just wanted to make business work. So like I quit my corporate marketing job in July 2020. I couldn't handle it there anymore. Uh, so I'll take you on like this little tangent and then we can go back to having a conversation where we both talk because I feel like I am taking over everything.
the whole
Um,
point of being interviewed. You're the one who's supposed to be talking.
that's fair, that's fair. Okay. So obviously June 2020 was a pretty intense month across the United States. So we had a lot of brands who were posting a black square and donating to foundations and the NAACP and all this stuff to support the Black Lives Matter movement after the murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis. I worked for a greenhouse. Our competitors were posting things in support of Black Lives Matter. Our, like, the stores who carried our shit were posting in support of Black Lives Matter. And so I emailed my boss and I was like, hey, I think we should make a statement. I think we should do this. I think we should make a donation here. And he wrote back and he was like, ownership is not going to go for this. And I was like, well, try. And some racist statements were said that in the moment, I'm sure he didn't think they were racist, but like some of the stuff that I got back was they run an orphanage in Africa. It doesn't get more black than that. Literal words that my boss said to me. If we support Black Lives Matter, we'll have to support Hispanic Lives Matter or whatever comes next. Our workforce was largely, what's the visa? The H something visa. I don't know. But like the special visa that allows people to come and work. And we like housed them and stuff. And they were Latino workers. So like, also my manager was Latino. And I'm like, why are you gonna, what? How, what? So like we have a warehouse full of Latino workers and this statement coming to me of like, well, if we support Black Lives Matter, we're gonna have to support Latino Lives Matter. And I'm like, but you should? What's going on? And Basically, he told me no, that it wouldn't be good for the business to make a statement in support of Black Lives Matter. And then my social media manager, who I hired, she just reposted something to our Instagram story about like black owned plant accounts. It was like support these black owned plant accounts and used like a Black Lives Matter sticker. And we got yelled at and told to take that down and told that we can't post controversial things without ownership approval. So Black Lives Matter is controversial. Pride Month is controversial. Like, so anything rainbows or queer or political at all, political, was a no-go. And so I fucking quit my job. I was like, bye, I can't do it. And that was the decision that chucked me off a cliff into self-employment. I gave a really long notice. I gave 4 weeks because I wanted to bank as much money as I could, and I was making 71K a year. So between like what I was able to save from four or two more paychecks, I guess, because biweekly, and like my PTO payout that I got, I had like a nest egg of around $10,000, and that floated me for like 3 years, including paying the housing or the closing costs on our house when we bought it. So like, and then when that money ran out, I started kind of freaking out, and I had to do some self leveling up and like realizing like, hey, like I can still do this even if like the money is not there to catch me when I fall. And that's a whole nother story. But anyway, that's also how I got into coaching.
Yeah. Oh, we hate corporations so very much.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. So like every time I see those plants in a grocery store, I want to be like, those are racist plants. You shouldn't have those. But like,
Racist plants.
that's a little much.
Okay, this leads to another kind of different question for you when it comes to like your business. How do you decide what to post about? Because while I do believe your boss was being very racist, I also think this is something a lot of business owners struggle with, where it's like, okay, but if I talk about this, then I kind of feel obligated to talk about that, and like I need to be talking about my business, and like this isn't a political account, but also my politics matter. Like, how do you juggle that?
What a great question. Um, so just sort of in general, the pressure to like be on top of every atrocity. People are like, "Oh, you're talking about this, but you're not talking about that." Like, we can't be playing these gotcha games
Oh,
where it's like, "No, I expect every single human person who markets on the internet to know about every horrible thing happening everywhere." Because like that's not realistic.
no.
And also, when an atrocity is brought to my attention, I gladly learn about it and like then I talk about it, but like we just don't know stuff in advance and you can't be mad at people for that. So that's my general anti-canceling message is like you have to chill out and like let people not know stuff. Like
Mhm.
we don't build a better tomorrow by policing everybody today, right? Like fuck cops includes acting like cops to each other. So
Yeah.
simmer down. Um but about like what I decide how to post and stuff on Threads, it's mostly just whatever's going on. I'm like, hey, I'm watching Bob's Burgers, I'm watching Star Wars, I'm watching a movie. I like to just kind of post whatever on Threads, and I will go into Buffer and pre-schedule posts on Threads that relate to my offers because I'm like, I can't be trusted to market regularly because I just get on there and shit post. And I'm like, why does Trump love his cheeseburgers so much? Like, I'm still trying to figure out why McDonald's brought Trump to speak at a summit.
Oh,
That's the news today on November 18th. Is this fucking guy some more?
this fucking guy. Did
This
I tell
fucking
you
guy.
I'm gonna get a one of those 5-year journals where you like write a teeny bit every day for 5 years in one journal?
Oh.
Yeah, and what my plan is to have one line for like whatever's going on with me, one line for whatever's going on with the kids, and one line for like news
Hmm.
headlines. And that way, at the end of the 5 years, or like when I'm gone, like my kids can look back and be like, "Oh, look at what Trump was fucking doing today, like that asshat, thank goodness he's gone, like
That's amazing. I like that idea. It's kind of
Mhm.
like morning pages, but it's like morning sentences.
Morning sentences.
Just a little bit,
Yes,
just a
just a
little
little
bit.
bit.
Um, so yeah, like obviously I have to market because I need to sell things for my business to be successful. So like what I'm marketing on Threads is usually like general stuff that's like encouraging authors, encouraging people to be creative. I could probably be a little more strategic and like post about my podcast and stuff like when it comes out. I The podcast is such a treasure trove of amazing stuff I have said that I barely talk about, and I have to fix that. Like what is this, Kate? So it's really a mix. Deciding what to post about is a mix of like current events, wanting to speak to what's going on because you don't want to ignore it. But also you can acknowledge it without having to like throw yourself on the sword of it, right?
Mm. And I do think that's actually a really good strategy is to like pre-schedule the marketing posts while also leaving leeway for like more spontaneous posting. Whether that's
Yeah.
spontaneous because you need to react to a news thing or spontaneous because you're shit posting, like leaving
Yes.
room for that.
I call it anchor content. So I'm like, you pre-schedule your anchor content, right? Your stuff that like, even if this is the only thing that goes out, you're still marketing your business.
Right.
And I love that I sound so competent when I say that because am I scheduling out my anchor content? No. But I will again one day. And then that leaves you flexibility in the meantime to, jump on a TikTok trend or just sort of post a talking head reel about what you're going through that day. And it's a mix of like canned stuff, like pre-scheduled, this is my professional thing I'm talking to you about. I'm trying to sell you something. And then over here it's like, and also here's my lunch. Like we're people. And something that I'm like coming to terms with recently, and I'm hoping that maybe you can speak to this, is like there's a difference between somebody who creates content and that's how they make money, and us as business owners who have to create content to market, but like we make money through people purchasing our wares. Because
Mhm.
like I fucking wish I could just show up and be funny and like Meta would pay me.
Mhm.
That would be a dream, except fuck Meta. But like, no, I have to create content to then try and convince somebody to buy a thing that I sell. And my thing is expensive. I mean, it's not end of the world expensive, but like my incubator is $6,000 for a
Mhm.
year. And, that's a semester, like I try and compare it more to like college tuition than like you could get a course about writing a book for $100 because that's not what this is. Like this is in
What you're
depth.
getting is not comparable. Right.
Yes. So I try to think of it as like this is a like 2 semesters of a college course,
Mhm.
basically. Like, and you're gonna have a rough draft at the end of it.
Right. And I can't think of hardly any other like non-coaching professional who you could hire and see them once a week for an entire year for 6K.
No, and 2 experts because you're in there teaching marketing
That's
too.
true. I'm in there teaching
Yes.
marketing. So,
Let's mention
yeah,
that.
I think it's fair to say that $6,000 is a lot of money. I think especially right now our economy is in the toilet and for a lot of people 6K is a lot, but it's not a lot when you think about what you're getting. Like you want to be
It's
and
very valuable. Like this
very
is a
valuable.
this is a crazy like valuable deal if you have $6,000. Like,
Right.
and if you are in a place to invest in your writing. And not everybody is, so like fucking follow me and just read my free tips. Like I
Mhm.
want to help people write their books whether or not they pay me.
Right. And you like this is something we've talked about a lot and something we talked about in one of the last episodes about like anti-capitalist business strategies, but like we want to help people regardless of whether or not they pay us. And also, we do need to be paid in order to continue doing the work. And it's like a fine balance. It's a little tricky, but yeah. And I do want to speak to like the difference between being a business owner and being a content creator because I do think there are pros and cons. Because, like, one of the pros of being a content creator is, yeah, you don't have to sell shit. And that feels really good. Although that's you don't have to sell your own shit. You have to do brand deals and like all this other stuff. So you're still selling, but it's from what I've seen from other content creators, it feels much less personal and you have a lot less rejection sensitivity around it
Mhm.
because it's not your product, service, program, etc.
Yeah.
Um, but one of the cons of being a content creator that I have seen recently from some of my favorites is this. There was this woman, and I'll tag the TikTok below if I can find it. But there's this woman who was like crying on TikTok because she's like, I made my entire career, the entire way I pay my bills and make money being funny on the internet, and I'm not funny anymore. I'm broken. And I can't pay my bills on top of everything because I am a broken person. And so that just sucks. And like, I'm not built to go back to a 9 to 5. Like, there's a reason I left and all this stuff. So, there are definitely cons to having your whole job being funny on the internet. Like, yeah, that's great. But like, everyone has bad days or bad weeks or bad years. And like, what do you do then? So yeah, I don't know, it's a mixed bag. But personally, I love kind of riding the line between both. Like, I love going viral and like getting hundreds of thousands of views on TikTok and like going like doing content stuff. And that also helps my business. Like, I got tons of email subscribers recently from doing that, which was great and all of that. So, but also selling my own stuff. It to me it's like having my eggs in lots of baskets.
Mhm. Yeah, and like diversification is very important for ADHD, right? Like we need
Yes.
multiple things. And but sometimes too many multiple things can get us in trouble because like I'm trying to do working title and one-on-one and my Patreon and my podcast and all this stuff and I'm like, no, this needs to be fewer things. And
Yeah.
I can still do all those things, but like I need to maybe my podcast exclusively promotes my Patreon and like the creativity just sort of like encouragement stuff. So like that's the pipeline. And then I also have working title. And moving into 2026, I am closing my one-on-one books because I don't have the capacity because I picked up a part-time job that has actually given me like so much freedom. I have only had this job for 2 weeks and already I'm like just relief is flooding me because I have had to make every single paycheck for myself like out of the goodness of other people being willing to buy things from me for 5.5 years. And that's a long ass time. And like I had a paid holiday on Veterans Day and I was like, I am getting paid to do nothing. That's amazing. Because I couldn't take vacation. Like you don't get PTO with a business
Mhm.
until you are like so cash flow that you can hire other people to operate the business and you can actually take time off. But like my business ain't that big.
Mhm.
Nor do I think I want it to get that big. Like I would like maybe one administrative assistant, maybe like a marketing assistant to do
Mhm.
social media stuff. But like I don't want to scale and be enormous.
Mhm.
And I used to want that because I thought that was just like the escalator. Like the relationship escalator is like you meet, you kiss, you get engaged, you get married, you have babies, and it's all this very standard escalator. And I opted out of that escalator. I'm not having kids. I don't default to monogamy, but I was still on the business escalator. And I didn't realize you don't have to do this either
Mhm.
until I like super burned out because I was trying to scale. Like I had hired a VA who I couldn't afford to like, oh, she runs all my contracts and stuff, so I don't have to deal with that. Okay, but I was paying her a lot of money. And there were a few months there, like toward the end before I like let her go, that like I was probably paying my hired people more than I was paying myself. And I was not in a good way. Like I went broke and it was rough. And so now, like, I've got this part-time job, which means like reliable income. So I don't have to rely on the business for income, which means I can rely on the business for passion, which actually is going to sell more. Crazy.
Agreed. Yeah, I think taking care of your nervous system when it comes to money is like that should be one of the first things we do in business because if our nervous system is freaked out, everything else gets just so much harder.
Yeah. And like the first time that my savings, like my little nest egg, reached like under $1,000, I started panicking and I started looking for like full-time jobs. Like I was like, I can't do business. I have to go get a real job again. And after a lot of journaling and stuff, I realized that I was panicking not having savings because my savings is how I escaped my abusive marriage. Like having an emergency fund, basically, that my husband could not see or access was what allowed me to leave him. And so then I got to like regulate my nervous system and be like, that's not happening anymore. Like, we are in a different situation now.
Mm.
And, talk to my therapist about it, talk to whatever coaches I was seeing at the time. Like, I shared it with like everybody who had seen me like having these like money stress issues. And I was like, hey, figured it out. It was my ex. So realizing that like I'm in a safe home,
Mhm.
which is evidenced by the fact that like my housemates have been splitting the bills and I haven't had to contribute financially in going on 2 years. That's a lot. Or no, a year and a half.
Mhm.
April of last year is when I like kind of lost my marbles a little bit and had to like really pull back financially from the business and stuff. And I had to do like some flash sales to pay some bills. And
Mhm.
it was a rough time.
Yeah, I like that you talk about that though, about like, yeah, I had to run some sales to pay some bills. Like, that is just something we have to do as business owners. It's one of the cons, kind of, is that like, but also one of the pros. Like, if you're working a traditional 9 to 5 and money gets tight, there's not a lot you can do about that. Like, especially if overtime's not available. Like, your paycheck is what your paycheck is. Whereas in business, I do think it's kind of nice, like, oh, that car bill came up. Can you tell we're from the Midwest? Oh,
Oh,
uh, oh, that car bill came up. Like, better run a flash sale. Better do this. Better do that. So, like, yeah, I think that's one of the pros and cons of running your own business for sure.
yeah, definitely. And like I have a running tally in my head of like, money I owe people because a couple of my roommates loaned me money slash like I still owe the homeowner money from when our basement flooded. Like, so like I haven't chipped in my share of like that deductible and stuff. And he's not worried about it. Like he knows I'll get to it when I can, which is so nice. Like these are my friends and they are not breathing down my neck to be paid back. Like, and they want me to not freak out and be unsafe. And like there's no risk of like being kicked out because I can't pay by such and such a date, which like now that I have this job, I'm hoping I can pay off a credit card and maybe pay off that part of our deductible from the flooded basement by the end of the year because like cash flow hasn't been a thing for a while. And now I'm like, I can have a little treat. I can get some sushi. I can do this. And I like being in my little treat era.
Yes, the little treat era is the best era. It's like, it's just very good. I feel like something that I tell folks is like money likes to have a job.
Hmm.
And it's nice to have, but like money likes to have a job, but money also, like, it's hard when the only job money has is to pay very basic bills.
Yeah.
Like, it's really good for us as like human beings to be able to spend money on like frivolous things. I think it's really important to like our mental health. I know that sounds like consumerist bullshit, but I really don't think it is. Like, I think when we are able to buy things we don't strictly need, it like convinces our brain that we are safe. Like
Yes.
if we have access to things we don't need, then we must have access to the things we do need, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And also like I've been sleeping better. Like I've been everything has improved now that like the nervous system money situation has improved.
Right.
And also like the little treat I think plays into like play. It's playful to go be like, I got tiramisu today because it's my favorite dessert and I never get it. And today I got it. Now I want tiramisu.
Yeah. Well, so something we were planning on talking about, we're coming towards the end of the episode, but we should still talk about it, is like authors maybe towing that line between content creator and business owner
Yes.
because like it didn't used to be this way.
It really did not. So like I think with the rise of not only self-publishing, but like small indie presses, like picking up and publishing books, the marketing is on the author so much more than it was in decades past, you know? Like, first of all, a long, long time ago, like, just not a lot of people were writing books. So, everybody would be like, hey, I heard about this new book by fucking Charles Dickens or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, there wasn't a ton of competition. And now we've got more human beings on the planet than ever before, which means we've got more storytellers than ever before, which means more books than ever before. And sometimes I get overwhelmed by how many books there are. And I'm like, how could I possibly read all of these books? Well, they're not all for me, so that saves me some time. But like, you can self-publish, a small press can pick you up, and then you have to now tell people about your book and ask them to buy your book and review your book and get your book in their local library. And that is a lot of pressure because, you're a writer, you're not a marketer necessarily. But you have to do both now. It's 2025. This is why I hired you in to do marketing in working title, because not only is it a place to learn how to write your book, it is a place to learn how to handle the business side of that as well. Because like you need to market. You probably need a website. You at least need like an email newsletter, like somewhere to capture your people and have a list of them so that you can be in contact. And like I think author marketing feels a little bit different than like having a business service to offer. I'm like, oh, I'm a coach. Hire me to coach you. And they're like, I have a cool book. Read my book. Like, to me, that's an easier lift. I would
I think it
love,
depends. It's like the service-based versus product-based. And
yeah,
I think product-based is easier in some ways because there's something physical they can hold in their hand as
that
proof of their
part.
purchase. And I
Yeah,
think that brings people a lot of comfort. Like it makes it easier for people to buy. But also, I think you can charge a hell of a lot more for something like coaching than you can for a book. And so there's
very
like that
true.
element.
Very true. And also, like, there's a difference. I've been doing a lot of content about self-publishing lately. So, when you self-publish, you have the ability to set your price, set your profit margin. You basically get all the money that does not go to Kindle or Ingram Spark or wherever you are publishing. Whereas if you are published by a traditional publishing house, they are going to be taking a cut. Your agent gets a cut. And, because they have marketing costs and they have to recoup the cost it took to print your first run of your book, like there are costs involved. And so you make less in your royalties. So things like printing on demand, Kindle Unlimited, this has really opened up publishing to a lot of people who did not have access to it before.
Which increases the competition, which means we have to market ourselves. So
Yes.
when it comes to marketing yourself as an author, like what would you say to someone who's like, dude, the reason I'm writing a book is because I'm super introverted and don't like talking to people? Like, what would you say to somebody about marketing and what they can do about that?
That's such a great question because it is like a real challenge. And you can sort of like bounce marketing off your characters. Like if possible, like if there's a trend going around and you can be like, how would character A react to this? How would character B react to this? And then if you're sort of like a theatrical TikToker type person, you can act that out. But if you're like the don't look at me, don't perceive me type, then you can do threads, you can do blogs, like you can do written aspects of like these trending topics and things like that. You can also people love like just a book cover and then surrounded by like the tropes, like there's only one bed, enemies to lovers. Like sometimes you can do like very basic kind of marketing and just be like, here's everything that's in here. And even though we know it's going to be enemies to lovers, like we're like, I love enemies to lovers. That's tasty. Especially like the romance industry. That's popping off right now because, we got monster smut, we got billionaire smut, we got I have never read a billionaire smut because if it doesn't end with making him give away his billions, like I'm not interested.
Same.
Queer smut, like there's so much more representation available in books because we have more access to self-publishing, and that is gorgeous. And it does also mean that we have to try harder to market because the mainstream publishing houses are still going to be pushing white men, you know, followed by white women,
Mhm.
especially white women who cry about how hard it is to be white women. We
Mhm.
love that.
I know.
Yeah, so like another thing I would love to point out is that like the publishing industry is an industry. So if you're getting rejected by agents, if you're not getting a publishing deal from a trad pub house, that is not about you, it's not about your book, it's not about your value. It is about an industry, and they are buying and selling books not based on like vibes, but based on what they know they can sell and make a profit from.
Yes.
So like that's similar to the energy that you need to bring with your own marketing. You have to be like, I know I can sell this, so I'm gonna sell it to you. And you can tell I'm talking with my hands like so much. I hope your YouTube audience loves that. Um, like there's a balance between being like, okay, this is a business and like this is a passion business. And authorness is like somewhere in between because you do need to
Mhm.
take it seriously. Like, you do need to sell it, you do need to build your audience and all this shit, and it sucks, but we have to do it.
Mhm.
That's my long-winded answer.
No, I love it because I think it's very different from like my perspective, which is good because like I am very extroverted. I was a theater kid. I love social media. I live for that shit, right? And so for me, it's like it's not, oh, this it sucks, but we have to do it. It's like, no, this is like half of the fun is like getting to talk about my book. Like I spent so long writing the book. Like I want to
Yeah.
talk about it now. I want people to know about it. I want to put it out there. But I also recognize that not every author feels that way. A lot of authors want their work to speak for them. And like, I totally get that. By the way, you can do that. I have so many. So I published a book with Jessica Kingsley Publishers called Welcome to ADHD, about being an autistic and ADHD adult. And I literally have so many TikToks of me just sitting there holding the book and reading a chapter, or not a whole chapter, but you know, reading a section. Like that counts. That's marketing.
Yeah. I thought about doing that with gaslighting. So my book is The Gaslighting of the Millennial Generation. It came out in 2019. I could update it. There have been some changes
Yeah.
in how society treats millennials and everybody else at this point. I would love to do like a post-COVID follow-up.
Mm-hmm.
And not that we are like beyond COVID, but like a post 2020.
Sure.
I just like to specify that because I don't want people to be like, it's not post COVID. I'm like, as a period, as a historical period, we are now post COVID
Right.
because the COVID era was when we were all social distancing and wearing masks and not going to the office and all that jazz.
Yeah. Like post lockdown era.
Yes, post lockdown. Also, like, imagine having that like racist Black Lives Matter fight with my boss while teleworking, like, because it was COVID.
Yeah.
I did an interview for a magazine on March 17th, and then I went home and never went back to the office. Like,
Oh yeah, my son was supposed to be baptized on the day they announced the shutdown. And we canceled it 3 days before, but someone got like an engraved like little box. So it has, we will forever know the day the world shut down because that was the day he was supposed to be baptized.
beautiful.
Crazy. Absolutely banana pants. So, okay. Authors need to promote themselves. It's really important. I feel like even when you have a deal with a big publisher, like even big publishers are doing less for their authors now. And like
Yes.
just a lot of the onus is being put on the creator. I think in a lot of ways that's bad because you already wrote the damn book. Can't someone who specializes in marketing
Right.
do the
Yes, like
marketing?
I did my special skill. Now you do your special skill.
But also, I think one of the benefits of it, and one of the reasons it has a lot of even big publishers are pushing their authors to do it, is because when the author does it well, you cannot compare. A
Yeah.
marketer could never do what the actual author is able to do.
That's totally fair. And like something else that plays into it is like when we talk about marketing, it's not always that every post is buy my book.
Mm,
You are also marketing when you are just communicating about your values, sharing stuff that's going on in your life, like if you talk about going to the library every week, we know that you value libraries. And then, if there's an issue on your local ballot about libraries and you post about that, like we now really know that you value libraries. And like just little ways that your values are known, that builds rapport and trust with your audience. And like, unfortunately, we live in an era where like people want to know more about you before they buy than they used to. It used to be you could pick a book up in Barnes and Noble and be like, this book looks interesting, and then you buy it. But now we're going to look up your Twitter, we're going to make sure we align with you, we're going to make sure that you didn't donate to Trump. Like
yeah.
there's more steps before we just openly buy something. But also like I love buying books. Like if somebody shares like something really compelling on Threads and they're like, "And I wrote a book about my experience," and that book is like $5 on Kindle, I'm buying it. Even if I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
read it, I'm buying it because I support you. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. No,
It's a
I get
really easy ask for like $5. And
it.
it makes an author feel good.
Yeah. Make an author feel good today.
Make
Bye.
an author feel good. If you read a book and you at least like it some, rate that bitch 5 stars. You know? Honestly, if it's not 5 stars, then like you shouldn't at this
Right.
point because 5-star reviews are currency. And like, if the book was terrible, if you're like, hey, there were no trigger warnings and this whole book had 1,000 terrible, horrible things in it that I was not warned for, sure, leave a bad review. That's fine. That's a social consequence of that author not doing their due diligence. But if you read a book and you're like, wasn't for me, and then you go rate that 3 stars because you're like, was not personally for me, it drives me bananas because like that affects the author's marketing in a way that like we don't know. We think we're just telling Amazon, but that's going
But
to get back.
Amazon runs the world, so be
Amazon
careful
runs
what
the
you tell
world.
Amazon.
Right.
Yeah.
So annoying. Like my boss actually gave me a 4-star review on Amazon when he read my book because he was like, I just think you swear a little bit too much in it. And I was like, Jose, 4-star reviews are for like actual problems. Like, look at all the other reviews. I have 5-star reviews and I have 1-star reviews. And that's how it should be.
See, that's where I don't leave reviews on Amazon because of that. Because if it's not 5 star and it's not 1 star, then you just shouldn't because it's not helpful. I like leaving reviews on Fable, which is kind of like Goodreads, but not associated with Amazon.
I
I'm
haven't
like
heard.
a ghost. I don't know what that's about,
Wait,
but
is Fable the one that did weird AI shit?
oh gosh, I
Or
hope not.
weird.
All right,
Uh,
we'll look it up after, but I'll let y'all know in the description if I switched away
I,
from the Fable
I
account.
think I'm remembering it. I want to say that Fable was doing like how Spotify is like your vibe is
Mhm.
Broadway magical banana pants. Fable did that, but it seemed like microaggression-y in their like names or something. I'm not fully
Really?
remembering.
Because I do know they do that. I thought it was kind of cute. I was like, oh, look, it describes how I'm reading. And it's not like they're putting anyone's work through AI. They're just putting, like, okay, they read these books. What kind of person are they? Which is, not a great use of water, but not the end of the world.
Nice. I did look it up. Uh Soulful Explorer. Your journey dives deep into the heart of Black narratives and transformative tales, leaving mainstream stories gasping for air. Don't forget to surface for the occasional white author, okay?
What the fuck, dude? Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's problematic. That's not great. We might be going back to Storygraph. Rats. I really liked Fable, but
I know,
yeah,
I'm
that's
so
pretty
sorry.
rough.
Like as soon
No.
as you said it, I was like, that's so interesting. And then I'm like, wait, alarm bells. Something
Something's wrong
happened.
here.
Something
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah. Well, okay, regardless, I tend to leave reviews on like reader apps instead, which I know
Yes.
those can still affect marketing, but it's not like your Amazon score. Your Amazon
Right.
score is everything.
I
Like
love
it
to
just
leave,
is.
Yeah. So if it's Amazon, I'm going to leave 5 stars. I'm going to tell
Hmm.
you what I liked about it. I'm going to be like, oh, the romantic and sexual tension was amazing. Really loved the writing for this character. Like, I like to give the author compliments in my reviews just in case they read it. And then I also want other readers to know, like, what I liked or disliked. 'Cause honestly, some people don't like first person POV versus third person POV. Like,
Right.
sometimes the reason that people don't like books is completely irrelevant to the book.
Yeah.
And so I don't like when people like punish authors by posting something that basically amounts to, I didn't like this because it wasn't to my taste, rather than a review that is of quality.
Hmm. Okay. I like it.
Like your personal, I keep like I keep track of like sushi rolls that I try from different restaurants, and I'm like, the Scooby Doo roll is a banger. I didn't care for the baked salmon roll, but like those are for me. That's not me passing judge. I'm not a sushi connoisseur. I don't have expertise. Like I don't
Right.
want my thoughts about what sushi I like as Caitlin Fisher to affect a sushi restaurant's rating on Google, you know?
Right.
And I'm kind of similar like that.
I think it's like we have to wrap up here in a minute,
We do.
but I think it's like something to do with our very dystopian society in that the corporations and what we tell the corporations matters more than what we actually think.
Ugh, yeah.
Like it's gross, right? Like theoretically a review, whether it's about your personal taste or not, it's a review space. That's where you're supposed to put it, but that's not how it works on Amazon, right? Like you need 5-star reviews to generate anything for your book. So,
Right.
yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. Well, thank you so much. This was like such a fun conversation, all of it, right? From the marketing aspect for authors to like what even is running a business and should we all get part-time jobs for our nervous systems? Like I love all of it.
Yeah.
Tell the people where they can follow you and
You can
give a
follow
quick little
me.
elevator pitch for working title.
Beautiful. Okay. So you can follow me on Threads is where I have the most fun. Or Instagram, and I'm at Caitlin Liz Fisher there, and I'm sure that Megan will give you a link so that you do not misspell my goddamn name. And also, my website is askfishfisher.com. You can also call me Fish if you want. Little tidbit. And working title, God, like a little pitch. Why don't you pitch working title?
I would love to. That's what I was going to say. I'm in working title. I am the marketing expert in there, but also I am one of the authors, one of the 12 authors that Caitlin represents and supports. So working title is a community for a small community, right? It's just 12 authors, a small community of authors who come together to support each other through coaching, which Caitlin leads, but everybody is kind of part of the environment and the ecosystem of care there. And also through critique. So you can bring in your work and people can critique it, which I know sounds scary, but like as someone who went to grad school for poetry and I just got really used to having my stuff ripped apart, like it's so helpful. You want your stuff ripped apart. That's how it gets good. Right?
It is the fastest way to improve your writing.
Fastest by far. You need the critique. So, anyway, so critique, coaching, co-working. I literally was just writing with one of the other authors earlier today. It was amazing. We both just hopped in the Discord voice channel and we were like, oh, which chapter are you working on? Oh, so-and-so's a dick. Yeah, like you got this. It was so fun. And that's, I think, the biggest thing for working title is like, it makes writing more fun because as much fun as writing is, it's more fun in community, I think.
I agree.
So that's working title. It's awesome. You should join us.
You should.
Yeah.
The board.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast, and I'll talk to
Thanks
you all
for
next
having
week.
me. Bye.